Eli Schreigenheim and I went out to dinner, and he said, he didn't say, oh, Lisa, now you're the oldest person in GC. He said, you're not the most experienced person in GC. And I've thought about that as I look and see all the history over the last half of my life, 30 years. Alex, 30 years ago? 30 years ago, I read the goal. 29 years ago, I met Eli, and 28 years ago, I joined AGI as an associate. So I've had the benefit of seeing a lot of history and a lot of interesting events and developments. And all of the stories, as I've been listening this morning, I think any of us who've been around a while, you can think about the stories that have been told, and you've got your own personal example of that kind of thing. A lot of fun for over a beer or a glass of wine later. I'm not going to bore you with all of that. I will say that the biggest growth that I've had introspectively and professionally have been through the time spent in the thinking process development and in the last 2 months of Eli's life. The most intense thinking, the most intense working, the most intense period of trying to be able to verbalize something that can help the world to do better things. I've been contemplating this notion of the idea of making TOC the main way of managing organizations, and the fact that Eli put that as the goal of this group that he founded in 2002 or whatever year it was. That combined with the fourth pillar of everything can always significantly improve. And I think, so this is Lisa's philosophy after thinking about stuff for a while. Did he succeed or did he fail? To me, that hasn't been the right question, to be honest with you all. Eli used to talk about, setting a goal in life. And he used to tell the story of his own and how he came to verbalize his own goal to his father and the criteria to use to figuring out what's your goal in life, right? It's got to be something that's big enough that you're going to die before you reach it, right? Because if you reach something so big, then what else is left? And I think he used that same thinking when he set the goal of his organization. I don't think it's something that he ever believed that his company was ever going to achieve in its lifetime. And if you think about that he had this belief in this thing we call ever flourishing companies, that meant that that goal is something that's big enough that would force us, if it's something you really wanted to do, to force us to keep developing the things that would be ever more powerful to make the organizations that much better every year, to make the world better every year. I don't think it was about the thing we call TOC. I think it's the thing that he would call thinking. I think it's the thing that any of us would call in reaching our own goal in life. I think we're all here because there's overlap between what his goal was and our own personal mission in life. And so I frankly stopped worrying about whether or not GC or DOC ICO or any of us would achieve making TOC the main way. And I started worrying about, and I'm always thinking about, how can we make it the next big step better? And I think that that's really what it's all, right? Applying common sense, applying thinking, challenging our own assumptions so that we don't do a tiny incremental improvement, but the next thing we do is something big. And frankly, that's the big lesson he left for me. When I think about the whole thing, that's the big lesson he left for me. It's not just about, right? And it's about big improvement that is, I'll use the word holistic in nature, right? Which means I don't have to sacrifice family for it, I don't have to sacrifice life for it, but it's something that helps elevate the whole thing. So that's the main thing I wanted to share this morning. There's lots of stories, and we're going to be together all day and all evening drinking, and a lot of fun things to share, including you were talking about his being directionally challenged. Sometime during 2011, I came here, and this restaurant, Rami, I don't remember the name of the restaurant in Kfar Saba, but it's, yes. And Ellie knew that I really liked the place. And so Ellie decided to drive me there. He was going to take me there before I needed to go to the airport. Now, I'm just this nice Jewish American girl that comes here periodically. He gets in the car. I've never been in a car with Ellie, and he's driving. And I needed to tell him where it was because we were getting lost even in Kfar Saba. So, but anyways, I think the big thing is it's really about the journey, and are we getting closer to making the world better and to making the organizations that we're part of and serving better. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.